Sometimes life changes without asking our permission, not through great plans or difficult decisions, but through small, unexpected moments. A stranger becomes a lifelong friend. A chance meeting changes the course of an entire life. We rarely recognize these moments while they are happening. They arrive quietly and settle into our lives so naturally that we begin to believe they have always belonged there. Perhaps that is why so many old stories begin not with kings or battles, but with an ordinary person finding something extraordinary. Among Japan's oldest tales, there is one about an old bamboo cutter who went into the forest one morning expecting to find nothing more than bamboo. Instead, he found a child who would change the rest of his life. Long ago, an old bamboo cutter spends his days walking through forest of green bamboo. Every morning was much like the one before it. He carried the same knife, walked the same narrow paths, returned home before sunset. It was an ordinary life until one morning he noticed a soft light shining inside a bamboo stalk. Curious, he cut it open. Inside sat a tiny child, no larger than his hand, wrapped in light. The old man gently lifted her. He hurried home to his wife. Together they looked upon the child with wonder. They had grown old without ever having children of their own. Now, somehow, a daughter had found them. They named her Kaguya. The child grew with impossible speed. The old bamboo cutter taught her how to split bamboo. His wife combed her hair every morning. They ate simple meals together as the season quietly passed. In spring, she laughed beneath cherry blossoms. In autumn, she gathered fallen leaves outside their little home. Their little house no longer felt quiet. Days became months. Months became years. Tiny girl from the bamboo had become a young woman whose beauty spread far beyond the mountains. People traveled great distances simply to see her. Prince came hoping to marry her. Each believed that if they could possess something so extraordinary, their lives would somehow become extraordinary too. But Kaguya gave each of them an impossible task. One was asked to find a jeweled branch said to grow in a distant paradise. Another was told to bring the skin of a legendary fire rat. Some returned with clever imitations. Some returned empty handed. Some never returned at all. Even the emperor heard stories of Kaguya's beauty. He invited her to his palace, but she refused. No matter how much the world reached towards her, she remained happiest in the quiet home where old couple simply called her daughter. Then, little by little, old bamboo cutter noticed something changing. On quiet nights, Kaguya would stop whatever she was doing and looked towards the moon. Sometimes she smiles, sometimes she quietly cries, watching the pale light across the sky. He asked what troubled her. For the first time, she wept. She told him a truth she carried in silence. She came to earth from the moon, and soon the people of the moon would return for her. The old man refused to believe it. How could anyone simply take away the daughter he had raised? He begged, he pleaded. Even the emperor ordered guards to surround the house. Archers watched the skies. Soldiers stood through the night. Then the full moon rose. A soft light descended upon the earth. The soldiers could do nothing. Their weapons fell silent. The light was untouched by walls or weapons. The people of the moon arrived not with anger but with quiet certainty. Kaguya embraced the old couple. She thanked them for every ordinary day they had shared, for every meal, every conversations. Then she placed upon herself on a heavenly robe. As it touched her shoulders, her earthly memories slowly began to fade. Even the faces she loved. She looked once more towards the old bamboo cutter, towards the woman who had raised her, towards the home she lived. Then she was gone. The light rose back towards the moon. The bamboo forest became quiet once more. I often wonder about the old bamboo cutter. Not on the day he found Kaguya, nor on the night she left, but in the years that followed. Did he still walk the same forest paths? Did he sometimes pause beside the bamboo where a tiny light had once appeared? Did every full moon remind him of someone he could never see again? The story never tells us. It doesn't need to. Perhaps that is why this story has never really disappeared. Every generation seems to find its own Kaguya, someone who entered our lives quietly, changed them completely, and then continued on a path that was never ours to follow. That is what makes certain memories feel different from others, not because they last forever, but because for a little while They made an ordinary life feel extraordinary. And sometimes, when the moon is bright and the world grows quiet, it is enough simply to remember that they were here. Somewhere, an old bamboo forest still sways beneath the moonlight, as though it remembers too.